Our laws and social structures should reflect the truth that all people have dignity, that we are made for each other, that everyone should have the opportunity to reach his or her fulfillment, and that we are one human family. What are we doing this election season to make that vision a reality? Hi everybody, Matt Brower with the Montana Catholic Conference. Last week we discussed Catholic social teaching and the dignity of the human person as the central pillar of the Church's social doctrine. Today we're going to look at the other three permanent principles of Catholic social teaching. I think those other three principles in some way relate back to that central principle of human dignity. Taken together, these principles provide us the moral framework for assessing the policies supported or opposed by candidates and the extent to which those policies will help to build a just and moral society. Applying these principles should help us as we discern how to vote. Some Catholics have heard of subsidiarity, but many of us don't really know what it is. Subsidiarity really is the principle that says that higher groups should not undermine smaller, more local groups. It's a principle that should help guide how we organize our society in our laws, our policies, our economics. So, for example, the federal government or state government should not subvert the role of the family, taking for itself those things that can and should be properly accomplished within the family. It's the principle that reflects the truth that we are social by nature, not just sociable, but social by nature. That's how we're made. We're made for each other. We are made for relationships. And it's in those relationships that full human development takes place. Now, this is true not exclusively, but first and foremost in the family. The family, based on the marriage of one man and one woman, is the fundamental unit of society. Our policies and programs must reflect respect for the family, defending and strengthening it. But subsidiarity is about far more than simply local control. While larger institutions should not overwhelm or interfere with smaller groups, the Church recognizes that these larger groups play an essential role in assisting smaller groups and addressing needs or issues that smaller, more local groups can't adequately address in order that human dignity will be protected and the common good promoted. Speaking of the common good, this is another often cited but misunderstood principle. It doesn't, for example, mean the greatest good for the greatest number of people. By the common good, the Church means the social conditions which will allow people, as groups or as individuals, to reach their fulfillment more fully and more easily. This certainly includes that fundamental right to life, but it also means a right to those other things that are required for humans to flourish. Food, housing, education, healthcare, employment, freedom of religion. These things are necessities, and they're things to which we all have a right. This principle reminds us, among other things, that the economy is to serve people, not the other way around. That there is dignity in work. And work isn't simply a way to earn a living, but a continuing participation in God's creation. That we have a duty to care for all of God's creation, what Pope Francis has referred to as our common home. And that these rights, which all people have, come with corresponding responsibilities to act in a way that upholds the dignity of all, reflecting the truth that we are bound to each other as partners in seeking goodness and truth. Now, the principle of solidarity is that principle that recognizes that we are one human family, that our love of neighbor binds us together. Embracing this principle means that we recognize we are our brothers and sisters' keepers. Loving our neighbor, standing in solidarity, means we work to help that expectant mother in need, that we strive to eradicate racism, that we welcome the stranger by helping to ensure that immigrants and refugees have the opportunity for those things needed to lead a decent life, and that we commit to promoting peace and justice in response to the violence that is so prevalent in our country and around the world. Solidarity demands that we demonstrate particular concern for the weakest, the most vulnerable, those who are forgotten, those without a voice, the unborn, the elderly, the poor. The church reminds us that the basic moral test of any society is how it treats its most vulnerable. And in case we are tempted to think of this as some secondary concern for the church, not central to its mission and work, listen to the words of Pope Benedict XVI, who said, "Love for widows and orphans, prisoners, and the sick and needy of every kind is as essential to the church as the ministry of the sacraments and the preaching of the gospel." So as we approach this upcoming election, let's recognize the great gift the church has given us in its social teaching and embrace that framework as we seek to vote in a way that honors God and reflects the fact that each human being is a unique, unrepeatable masterpiece of God's creation. Now, just a reminder, in future videos, I'd like to answer questions that viewers might have. So feel free to send those emails to director@montanacc.org. I can keep those anonymous if you'd like, but they can be about voting, Catholic social teaching, faithful citizenship, whatever questions you might have. I look forward to reading those. Thanks again for watching today. I hope you'll join me next time.